of Challenges and Kisses by Ravendagger. Chapter 13. A New Suit and a New Coat. He looked up at the building. Its checkered blue sides and purple-pink trim rose up to the carousel that gave the building its denomination. Right above his head, a gaudy sign announced his name, aptly called Carousel Boutique. Do I really need to be here? He wondered as he eyed the entrance apprehensively. He shuffled his way from side to side, bit his lip, then took a step forward. He froze. But I don't want to go in there, he told himself. What if Slee is there? Or worse, Verity? He shook his head. Idiot! One of those two is going to be there no matter what. I just need to trot in, ask for a suit, pay for it, and trot out. Keep it businesslike, none of the fluffy, feely stuff. Featherweight took another step, then paused once more. Some of the ponies going about their day were pausing and staring at his entrance at the entrance. Slee Belle, she likes me, doesn't she? Oh, who am I kidding? She admitted it herself. But do I like her? Gah! I don't have time for this! He screamed at the top of his voice, drawing quite a bit more attention his way. Sorry, he said, cringing as he snuck towards the doorway. I like Scootaloo, that much I know, and I'm going with her tomorrow. Not Slee Belle, that's that. With a gentle push of his forehoof, the door swung inwards, releasing a warm breath of perfume-filled air from the building. Chimes tinkled above the door, the ringing quickly absorbed by a huge showroom. In the center of the room, a white unicorn was bending under a mannequin, a dozen needles held between her teeth as she hummed to herself and placed them one by one with her magic. One moment, dear, she called, before Featherweight sat down and patiently waited, his attention strained to a row of mannequins set along the wall that looked at him with their faceless heads. Opposite them were wheeled racks covered in clothes of every color and hue. Rarity carefully pierced the newly made dress with the last of her nails. Just a few more stitches and done. The elegant mare stood, turned her glasses-covered face toward him, remained swinging around to her landed in a perfect position. Her deep, royal blue eyes alighted on him, whining before narrowing into little slits. Ah! You! Featherweight averted his eyes, even as he pawed the carpeted floor. Hello, Miss Rarity. Hello, Featherweight, she replied, removing her glasses with her magic, before depositing them onto a nearby table. The mare coughed slightly, before resuming in a cold, yet professional, voice. What are you here for today? I need a suit for the spring flea. I see. Verity walked across the room. Muffled hoof falls, the only sound in the room, as she made her way to a rack filled with suits. Her distinct blue aurora surrounded it, and pulled 3 samples out, folding them between herself and the colt. These are the most commonly sold ones to young stallions as yourself. Featherweight stood and walked toward the suits, scanning them over. These aren't really that nice, he thought as a baby blue affair with bright green buttons floated by. I think she's doing it on purpose. None of these are, be tactful. See, my still have scissors around. These really don't suit me, Miss Rarity. She pushed forwards and took a peek at the other suits that had yet to move from their steel rack. Most were simple, black, and had tags well within his means. Maybe one of those? He asked with a mischievous smile while pointing at them. Verity gave the stand a swift kick of her hind leg, sending it flying back until it crashed into the wall, dropping coats on fancy pots left and right. Those ones aren't for sale, she said, giving him a sleek grin. Miss Rarity? Yes, a Featherweight. Her smile began to strain on the edges. I have the impression that you're showing me less popular outfits on purpose, he said, an eyebrow raising quizzically. The mare huffed and pouted, her muzzle pointing up in denial. Why, I never do that to an esteemed customer. His brows never moved. Is this because of Sweetie Belle? She peeked down at him, sighed, and shook her head. The 3 suits leisurely traveling back to their place on the supports. Fine. I guess it's not very fair for me to treat you this way. Yes, it's about Sweetie Belle. Which part exactly? Featherweight grins. Rarity wheeled on him. Well, she told me how she cares for you, but you persist on pursuing that little town called Scootaloo. I know I can't fault Scootaloo. She's done nothing wrong in occupying your affections. From the sound of it, she does barely return to your feelings. What irks me is that you know how much my dear sweetie bear cares for you, yet you continue to give her hope of a relationship. The poor thing is bending over backwards for you, twisting Scootaloo's wings in order to get her to go on those little dates of yours, practically begging me for those wonderful tickets. And I've never seen her practice magic any harder than she has been after you praised her that one time. The mare stunned forwards, looking at him through the bottom of her glasses. He stepped backwards, reeling away from the calm mare. After she came home yesterday, she tried to put on a brave face for me, but broke down sobbing the moment she was in her room. I understand you care for Scootaloo. I really do. But you need to make it absolutely clear to Sweetie that your relationship with her will never become more than friendship. Will it? She leaned forward, her face so close to his he could smell the turnip and hay she ate for breakfast. Will it? I guess not. Very well. If you're any sort of gentlecoat, you should tell her that yourself. Reddy lifted away from him, Max straightening as she turned to face the shop's rear entrance. I'm sorry for all my hostility earlier. Those crude accents are rather becoming of a lady like myself. But I love Sweetie with all my heart, and it hurts me terribly to see her in such pain, she said, walking away. You're a good sister, Miss Rarity. Why did I say that? She beamed at him over her shoulder, teeth flashing in track lights. Why, thank you, dear. She took a few more steps, then paused. Oh, now that we have all that settled, how about we fit you with a nice suit? I have the most stunning outfit for you. Her horn glowing, she popped open a chest near the exit and pulled out a bright green outfit with thick lapels and golden buttons. Oh, sweet Celestia, no! Featherweight swallowed a bit hard, the multi-hued piece of clothing the only thing he could focus on. No thanks. I'll take something more confessional. Rarity hummed. You're the fourth to say that, she mused before tossing the offending thing back into the case. Oh well, I'll let Sweetie. The door closed with an almost silent click, leaving Featherweight alone in the room. He sat in the middle of the floor, eyes roaming around the shop. Wasn't I here like this before? All alone? Ah! I remember. That's the day Sweetie kissed me. He coughed, crossing his chest as his body bent forward. Blood rushing to his face, even his eyes watered. Why did I have to think of that? Oh no, are you okay? A sweet, high-pitched voice said, one that made his ears twitch wildly. Delicate hooves touched his back, gently encouraging him to straighten out. With a gasp of air, Featherweight stopped his fit and quickly wiped the hoof by his eyes. Are you okay? She asked again, prompting the colt to turn and stare deep into a pair of gray-green eyes. Oh, hi, Sleepy Bill, he said, his mouth turning to cotton while bullets of sweat began to make their way down the nape of his neck. The filly sat near him, her eyes immediately flinching away as she studied everything but him. Featherweight blinked, then narrowed his eyes as he scanned her quickly. Her hooves were shivering and constantly moving. Her lighter-than-white coat had tints of deep red around her cheeks, and she was biting her lower lip. So, I came to buy a suit, for the thing. Right, she exclaimed, looking up to me his gaze. She smiled, closing her eyes as she did so. I have something for you. I think you might like it. Sleepy turned around and pranced out the room, the door hardly clacking shut before swinging open once more. Floating beside her on a clothes hanger was a well-pressed and perfectly trimmed tuxedo, a black bow tie dangling around the hook. She grabbed hold of one of the benches at the makeup mirrors and dragged it near him. Then, being careful not to crease or mar the fabric, she gently laid the suit over the wood. Here, all yours, she said, a beaming grin splitting her face. Featherweight approached it, blinking as he looked at it carefully. The material was a soft black satin with a silver trim all along the edges. Pieces of loose thread poked out from some of the seams. Most of the trimming was crooked or badly pressed. It's really nice, he said, his eyebrows knitting together in concern.
Oh, thanks.
Her face blushed instantly as he demurely focused on her host.
I made it myself, just for you.
Oh, wow! He looked at it again, with newfound appreciation. It must have taken you forever!
No, just a few weeks. It's nothing really, compared to my sister's stuff.
He gave her a huge grin as thanks. Should I try it on now?
No, it's okay. I know all your measurements.
One of his eyebrows rose.
You can have it.
She said, pushing both the bench and suit forwards.
I'll go fit the bag.
He blinked twice, looking between the filly walking to the counter near the entrance to the black tuxedo. Wait, is it free? Sweetie Belle disappeared behind the desk with the cash register, her head reappearing moments later above the table.
Of course I meant free,
she said before dropping again. But you worked so hard. I can pay, you know. It won't be a problem. He protested, taking a few steps away.
Don't argue. I made it for you. I want you to enjoy it.
Her tail stood out from above the counter, waving side to side.
Now, where did she put those medium-sized bags?
Featherweight stepped beside the tuxedo and touched it, his hoof playing across its surface. She really did go all out. All that for me. And Scootaloo. Would Scoots do this thing for me? He looked at the still wagging tail. She's the nicest pony I know, he thought, somehow knowing it was true. So, sweetie, he began, trying to relieve the tension of the room's quiet. Are you going to the spring fling? The tail froze, stood stock still for a few moments before pulling down. A few moments later, Sweetie tried it out, an empty bag with the shop's logo adorning the side of her mouth. Her upper body flushed with red as she spoke.
Well, yeah, I'll be going.
That's cool, he said as he approached. You'll be going with. The filly froze, nearly turning her face away from him and dropping the bag.
I am.
She stumbled over her words, voice breaking at every pause. I think I left laundry in the oven! She exclaimed before galloping by him, a few thick sobs escaping her. No! Wait! The last Featherweight saw Sweetie Belle was a sparkle of light off a wet cheek as the shop's door closed with a boom of finality. He gently lowered the hoof, raised towards the exit, using it to hit himself in the face. I am such an idiot! He groaned in the sullen solitude of the boutique. The colt sighed and reached forwards, grabbing the suit with his wingtips and bringing it to the bag. Carefully, he slid the cloth into it and let out another sigh before packing the bag up. Head low and tail dragging behind him, Featherweight moved to the door and pushed it open, the joyful ringing resounding in his head. Outside, the sun was uncharacteristically strong, covering the entire town in a glow of celestial light. The air smelt of summer, and the glee associated with it, from fresh flowers in the meadows to the blooms of hundreds of apple trees starting to flower. The lone colt began to march at a deliberately slow pace, his mind working while his hooves carried him ahead. What should I do? He asked himself, as he scurried around the town, open fields on one side and dozens of dad's hooves on the other. He grumbled, passing a small group of colts running and cheering together as they were led by a gray Pegasus. Sweetie Belle isn't very happy, is she? Is it my fault? Is Scootaloo happy with me? Featherweight slowed to a halt, his eyes glazing over. Am I happy? Gah! He screamed in frustration, stomping the ground with all four hooves. No, I'm not happy! This entire thing is driving me mad! Why can't love be simple? He whined, before abandoning his stomping and carrying on. Alright, let's boil this down. The colt let out a tight breath, lifting his chest as he did so. Do I like Sweetie Belle? I guess I do. She's nice and all, kinda cute, and she likes me back a lot. The colt took a tight turn into an alleyway, leading into a housing street. What about Scootaloo? He wondered, kicking a can out of his way. I really liked her for a long time, but never up front. Do I still like her? She's fast and fast, loves all sorts of things, except me, and she's really, really cute. His head low, he walked around the house and back into another alley, the stench of piled up garbage wafting over him. He groaned as he passed through, increasing his pace. Beyond, he reached a small park-like glade right to the town's edge, filled with very tall trees and some artificially placed bushes. What do I love Scootaloo? She hasn't been all that nice to me in, well, he slowed to a stall once more. Do I still love her? Nearby, one of the bushes shook lightly, rustling despite the lack of wind. Featherweight's mind stilled as he pointed back to the bush, eyes widening and ears perking. Slowly, he snuggled towards the shrub, just as another sound escaped it. A sob. Through the green and vibrant leaves was a grayish-purple form, one that shook constantly as branches caught his coat. Hello? He asked. Are you okay in there? The sob stopped, and replaced it by a hard gulp. Then nothing. I'm Featherweight. It's okay, she answered. He lowered himself, front hose bending until his head was beneath the lights of the bush.
Okay.
A squeaky voice said,
Just leave me alone, please.
Don't worry, I won't hurt you, miss. Between the leaves, he saw a filthy blonde mane move, the sunlight breathing panting on his golden streaks. There was a pause, a few moments passing in quiet until the filly finally sighed.
Okay, I'll come out. But only if you don't laugh at me.
She added, voice firm until it suddenly cracked. She looked down. Another racking sob escaped her. You guys, you gotta realize, doing the stinky voice is not easy. But I'm confident that doing in small doses, I'm perfectly fine and don't have to worry about my throat. Should we tell them folks about his schedule? Cross my heart, hope to fly, stick a cupcake in my eye, he said, waving his hose around, touching his eye. She giggled sadly before the branches began snapping and the leaves shook off, falling to the ground in droves as the occupant of the bush burrowed out of it. The filly fell into her haunches at Featherweight's hoofs. So, are you okay? He asked, gently helping her to sit up straight. From the tip of her tiny horn to the bottom of her hooves, she was only as tall as Featherweight's chin. Her head bowed down as tears still slicked her eyes. The filly ran up her musical heels across her muzzle, sniffed shyly.
I'm sorry,
she whispered, her big yellow eyes looking away in shame. Oh, don't be sorry. How about we talk about it, I guess? He scratched the nape of his neck, giving her the most reassuring smile he could muster. She looked down uncertainly. Her ears drooped and her eyes still filled with fresh tears that left streaks down her puffy red cheeks.
I don't know,
They both blushed. Well, how about I escort you home? She nodded.
Well, okay, I guess. My name is Tinky Hooves, but most ponies just call me Tinky.
Hi, Dinky. I'm a Featherweight, he said, his smile beginning to strain. So, he asked, pawing the ground, where do you live? The filly twisted around, shyly pointing with the tip of her hoof, across the hills beyond the town. There, hidden within the thick evergreens, was a beige timber shack, nuzzled up to the side of an enormous tree. Stretching to the house was a hoof-beaten path edging along the crest. I never noticed that place. Featherweight leaned in the house direction, squinting and shading his eyes from the sun with a hoof. Dinky bit her lower lip.
Mommy likes to be apart from other ponies.
Featherweight nodded. He took a few steps forward, snapping with a few fallen branches as he did so. Okay, should we get along then? He asked. Her tiny head bobbed up and down before she scampered ahead of him. Featherweight walked at her side, taking one step for every two of hers. The impromptu couple slipped out of the shadow cast by the glades and marched through the long grass beyond, the blades slipping between their hooves and waves. Neither spoke. They just walked shoulder to tiny shoulder while heading to the beaten path. Dinky hung her head, the tip of her horn was pointing the way as she constantly let out small sighs and the occasional sob compressing her chest. The colt slowed to a halt and patiently waited for her to notice his departure. 3 plodding steps later, the filly stopped, wiped her eyes, and looked at him. He stomped his hoof to the ground, sat and patted. I refuse to move on! Dinky blinked at him, her watery eyes staring back in confusion.
Did I do something?
She asked, her head sinking into her shoulders.
I'm sorry.
I refuse to move on until you tell me exactly what's wrong.
But...
Every detail, or I'm not moving, he said before huffing. The filly took a few steps his way.
But
She sighed once more.
Well, okay, I guess.
She then wheeled on him.
But please, don't tell anyone. It's embarrassing.
Dinky focused on the ground as a massive blush ran in her cheeks. Come on. I promise I won't tell a soul.
Well, okay, I guess. Can we continue walking, though?
He smiled at his victory and pranced ahead, keeping to her side as he trotted along, her head in the clouds for a few moments. Clouds flittered by above them, casting long, thin shadows across the hillsides. Birds played in the sky, their glee at the arrival of the summer palpable.
It's Rumble,
She said, peering at Featherweight from the side.
He's one of the colts in class. You know him? He's tall and gray and has the coolest mane.
Yeah, we're in the same school. Which reminds me, I never saw you in school before.
Oh, my mom homeschools me.
She explained.
Anyway, well.
He smirked knowingly. You like him? The filly at his side stumbled forward a few steps, almost tripping over nothing, her face blushing more than before.
Well, I guess. Well, recently, I started wanting to play with him.
Just like with me and Scootaloo, huh? Okay, go on. They were more than halfway to her house, the beige building clearly visible between the green leaves and branches.
Yeah, well, he was nice, I guess, but he was with his gold friends. They weren't very nice to me at first. The diamond tiara, his silver spoon began to laugh at my mommy, and he told them off.
He sighed, her eyes sparkling as he gazed dreamily into the cloudless sky.
He's so gallant.
Is that why you're sad?
Well, sorta. I like to, spend some time with him. We sorta did at first. But, well, he likes spending time with his friends more and playing games with the other girls and billies and being so cool. So I tried to be like him, do things he likes.
I never saw this geeker.
I messed up. I wanted to do good, but I just couldn't. He's so much better than I am. And Diamond Tiara came to me.
I think I see where this is going.
She told me that if I did this one thing, he'd be really, really like me. I could invite you to play with them too.
Featherweight shook his head. And what did she tell you to do? Dinky studied her quickly approaching home.
Well, she said if I got some cakes from Scootaloo Corner, and if I brought them to her and Rumble, he might think I'm baking stuff. So I did.
Featherweight blinked, his wings rustling at his back. You stole from Pinkie Pie? Yes, calling to you feeling the flesh. I'm sorry. Go on.
Well, Rumble wasn't happy, and all the others said it wasn't right. He said stealing wasn't cool, and I was just a meanie.
The filly swallowed past off her throat, as tears began to pour down her eyes.
You'll never love me,
She exclaimed, before stopping on the spot, eyes and cries once more freely escaping from her. That's okay. I rightfully ship you with Pipsqueak. Oh, come on, boo! Boo! Shiver! Couldn't help it. Well, don't be like that. Featherweight said as he approached her, gave her a timid hug, wrapping a wing around her whilst he buried her face into his shoulder. Warm, wet tears began to cascade into his coat while he sat there, petting her back rhythmically and staring into the sky, wishing he were far away. Tears dried out, even as he continued to sob into his side.
I'm sorry.
Dinky squeaked, her face still buried into his shoulder. It's fine, he replied. How about we get you home, all right? The filly shook her head, wiping off excess tears as if snot on him before pulling back.
I'm sorry. Mommy would be very happy if she saw me taking things that weren't mine.
The filly hiccuped.
What about you?
What about me? Dinky began taking slow, shaky steps towards her home, gingerly moving forwards, as if her tiny legs could hardly support her beaten and emotionally drained body.
Don't you love someone? You seem like a nice enough goat.
I sort of do. I guess, maybe. It was his turn to blush. The unpaved road changed below them, going from pounded dirt to a simple gravel. Pebble pathway that arced and spun around the trees, bushes and patches of well-tended flowers. The house's door was wide open, the aroma of freshly baked muffins wafting out into the breeze in his hungry nostrils. There are two, I guess.
Tell me about them, if you don't mind.
This is a bad idea. She might start crying again. The first, I really like her. She's pretty and fun and cool, but she doesn't really like me. Or at least, I don't think she does.
And the other?
Pinky prodded, blinking away the last of her tears as her UI stared up at him curiously. She's different. She likes me. I know she does. And yet, she actually tries to help the other filly. Yeah, she's sort of cute too. She's the one that gave me this suit and always tried to help me or be closer. He finished just as they arrived 2 steps, leading into their house. Dinky hopped up before she spun around.
Sounds like you should go for the second one. She sounds way better for you.
Alright, time to bring out the big guns. I'm calling the shipping and handling services. Beep, 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 beep. Yeah, baby.
Also, what suit are you talking about?
She asked, still tilting aside. Featherweight spun around, eyes fixing on the musical form of a carousel boutique bag, placed far away near the town. Current! Dinky giggled, the joyful sound ringing about the glade around her house.
I'm sorry. It's my fault, I guess.
He shrugged. I'll have to go get it quickly. It might rain or something. He nodded in goodbye and took a few steps back. Oh, I should go apologize to Pinky, although I somehow really doubt she doesn't know. Promise? The filly nodded sagely.
I promise.
Good. Now, here's another tip. Just be yourself. If you need to work at being someone else, then maybe this rebel cult isn't for you. You need to find someone who likes you for who you are. Oh, and Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon are a bunch of self-entitled cowards! Dinky nodded again, her mood restored to some degree.
Thank you, Featherweight. You're really nice. I hope you do well with that filly. She sounds nice, too.
Yeah, as he said goodbye. Turning, the colt began trotting along the road, heading for his temporarily forgotten bag. He looked down on the mess the filly had left crying on his coat. I need a shower. And this author needs to be paid a lesson for making Dinky cry!